Hello, hello. Welcome to the live with yours truly. I hope everybody can hear me. I hope you can see me. I do have what do I have? I have an AC going in the background, so hopefully it doesn't affect the sound very much. Okay. I am doing donation based live readings today. Suggested amount is 25, but these are pay what you can. I am about to put the information in terms of how to pay and how to get your spot in the comments. How are you guys doing? Where are you watching from? Let me know. Are you feeling the exciting energy of Jupiter Kazimi that is perfecting right now? Are you maybe feeling the emotions of Cancer season? There is no wrong answer. It is all happening. I feel like, everything you're feeling is correct. Okay, I'm just trying to check something. If you guys could, in your free time, follow my yoga YouTube channel. It's called Anastasia Does Yoga. So the same as astrology, but with yoga at the end. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, let me know where you're watching from, how you're feeling. If you'd like to jump on my readings list today, it is donation based. Pay what you can. Suggested number is 25, just based on the previous sort of donations people sent in. And you can send your donation at the link in the comment. Okay, let me see what you guys are saying. Bhavana. Hi, Bhavana. It's been a minute. Seline is watching from San Diego, saying definitely feeling the emotions with love. The Gemini joining today from Alabama. Bhavana is watching from Switzerland, I know. Christine is from STL. What is St. Louis? Is STL St. Louis? So I do have a couple of people that have sent donations in the past. I wonder if Monica is here. Monica saved her spot before. But again, if anybody wants to get a reading with me, there is that information in the pinned comment and also in the description. Bhavana is asking, how are you? Are you melting away? Luckily, we did get an air conditioner. It's like you can't really see it because it's behind this thing, but you can sort of see the thing in the window that is expelling all of the hot air. So it's a little better indoors, but it is 36 degrees outside, and tomorrow it's supposed to be 38 degrees outside for those who are familiar with Celsius. So I am definitely a bit irritated by that. When you go outside, it's just a mess. And today I took a walk and I was like, let me try to stick to the shade, but it's really hard to like actually stick to the shade. Okay, I got a donation from Tasha. Thank you, Tasha. If you want, so important information, right? If you'd like a reading, the first step is a donation. You go on my list right now. It's basically open. Tasha would be first. I do have some people from like previous times. If they show up, great. They sort of get a priority because they sent donations previously. But after you send the donation, you can either put your information in the comments if you don't mind it being public. If you want it to be private, I do ask that you email me to anastasia.does.astrology@gmail.com, or you can email to info@anastasiadoesastrology.com. Either works. But that's for people who want their information to be private. If you don't care about it being, I'm not gonna like put your last name in there, but like if it's okay to sort of pull up your chart in a public mode, then just put it in the comments. Okay, so I'm just gonna start the list. Tasha goes on it. Thank you for your generous donation, Tasha. We are in the Jupiter Kazimi period. Let's all manifest some goodness for all of us today. And let's together, right? Let's focus on thinking happy thoughts, all of us, because Jupiter is the planet of faith And the more you believe in him, the more you believe he will bring you good things, the more likely he will. And tomorrow it's exact at 11:16 a.m. Eastern, the Kazimi. And Kazimi of Jupiter happens once a year because we have an annual Sun-Jupiter conjunction. But this is the exalted Jupiter, so it's empowered Jupiter. And we get that exalted Jupiter one. I need to slow down. And I'm like, we get that kind of Jupiter once every 12 years. And last time in 2013, 2014, Jupiter didn't conjoin the Sun in Cancer because it did one. There was a conjunction in Gemini, and the next year there was one in Leo. So the last time the exalted conjunction actually happened was 24 years ago. So it's a really rare and exciting transit. Hi, Dana. How are things in Portugal? Tasha, I do need your birth town as well. Bhavana saying that's crazy. Here it's around 29:34. Bhavana, how are you doing? How are things with work? Hi, Gogo Pogo. Always good, sweet comments. What's going on with all the wars? Are we heading for World War III? So that might be a question for astrologers who sort of look at these big cycles. I haven't done a ton of research into that, but I think with knowing that we have Saturn and Neptune in Aries, we have Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto was in Aquarius last time when we had Industrial Revolution, French Revolution, American Revolution. There might be more drama coming up for sure, but I'm always hopeful that we have some alleviating energy. So right now this year with Jupiter in Cancer, hopefully Jupiter can provide a little bit of a respite for that. Okay, Tasha, I got a donation from Stephanie. Thank you, Stephanie. Adding Stephanie to my list as well. And again, if you'd like a reading, I do ask for a donation. These are pay what you can based on, however much you can afford. I know we all come from different situations, and so I'd like to make these affordable to everyone. For those who want a personal reading, you can always get it on my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. And my class begins in less than 3 months, in 2 months or so. So come join my class. You can break it into payments if you cannot afford the whole amount at once. So yeah, if you do like a reading, send a donation. Suggested amount is $25, but again, don't want to repeat myself a million times. It is pay what you can. I am going to repeat myself a bunch of times. So Vasilena says, hi from Sydney, Australia. I hope to get my charts today. So Vasilena, have you sent a donation previously? The email, okay. What are the emails we can send our info to keep it private? So the email is anastasia.does.astrology@gmail.com. And yeah, please email that email if you'd like your information to be private. This way I can, and just put it at the top of the email so I see it right away. Vasilena, I don't think I saw, wait, let me see. I don't think I saw a donation from you. I have Tasha and I have Stephanie right now. Okay, so if you'd like a reading, donation information is in the description and there should be in the comment. Let me start. Let's start with Tasha. And if you guys are joining and you want to tell me where you're watching from, please do. July 26, 81. 3:38 a.m. Hartford, CT. Okay, Vasilena, I'll check it out. Let me just do Tasha's reading. Tasha, what is your question? I don't know if I've seen your question. Please share. Okay, so right now it's I do see Vasilena on the list as well. Okay, putting you on the list. So if you don't mind your information being visible, share it in the comments. If you do want it to be private, please send me an email. My email is in the description to this video, so you can find it there. And Tasha, waiting on your question. Yeah, Tasha, it could be anything, it could be something that's more general about your chart or something more predictive if you want to know what's coming up for you. County creations, do birth chart readings include transit questions? Yes. We can talk about transits. We can talk, even if you want to know something very specific about your progress chart or your solar return, we can technically even take a look at that. Tasha, are you still with us? Would love to know your question. I hope we are not having some internet issues with some delays. Okay. So you want to know general and what's coming up for you. So those are two pretty big questions. Do you prefer general or what's coming up for you? Which one should I focus on? What's coming up? If you have specific, what's sort of the most burning question for you? Okay, I am going to share my screen. And just to confirm, Tasha, are you a Leo sun, Taurus moon, Cancer rising? Does all of the information look correct? I'm also gonna pull up the transits right next to it. Okay, so I think I'm gonna focus on what's coming up, unless you have, you're welcome to type in a specific question, because general, it's just, general is just general, too big, too sort of hard to specify. Okay, so what is some interesting stuff that is coming up for you? Let's just look at the transits real fast for the next 6 months, perhaps. Okay. So a couple of interesting things are coming up. I think I'm gonna maybe look at the 3 years or so. I mean, I'm not gonna analyze all 3 years. I'm just saying I'm gonna look at 3 years just for my own sake to see what cycles maybe are repeating versus which ones are just starting. So we are in June 2025. Okay, there are a few things that are happening for you right now. So one of them is Uranus, the planet of change, disruption, is conjoining your moon. Uranus first conjoined your moon. Well, it actually just conjoined your moon on June 12th. And then there's going to be another one on December 7th and March 31st. And this is significant because you are a Cancer rising, meaning you are ruled by the moon. So you are someone who is very focused on community, potentially serving community. Your friendships can be really important to you, and having stability in those friendships, as well as your hopes and dreams, and maybe pursuing hopes and dreams. And so it's interesting, Uranus conjunct the moon can shake things up, right? It can sort of shake you out of the comfortable patterns, and you have a fixed sun, the planet of your identity, and you have a fixed moon, which is the planet of your needs and emotional self. And so when Uranus comes in, it brings all of these shakeups in your friendships, in your family, in your maybe even job, potentially anything that provides you with that sense of comfort and security is getting disrupted, right? And even the fact that Saturn and Neptune went into your 10th house suggests that there is an important kind of sense of shakeup and maybe professional, like personal endings that lead to new beginnings. Tasha, have you noticed? Oh, you're going through a divorce. Okay. Okay. That would be shaky for sure. That's one example of that. When did you start the divorce process? Hi, Monica. I see you. Country creation. Sorry, I thought the transit readings were separate, not on here live. No, we can do transit readings for sure. Monica, I did see your questions. Yes, Seline. Okay. Okay, Seline got your information. So right now it's Tasha, Seline, and Vasilena. So, okay, so Tasha, this continues. And these, like I said, these sort of shakeups continue with you're been separated since 2024. So emotional shakeups, emotional breakthroughs, emotional breakdowns, certain like breaking away from old patterns, right? This is highlighted in June with Uranus conjunct your moon, and then it comes back around in November, December, and then the last time March, April 2026. Another big transit that has been happening on and off is Pluto opposite your sun. So the sun rules your house of money. Pluto has just recently went into your house of shared finances, debts, taxes, partners' money, right? So it kind of suggests this need to break away from. Oh, I think Monica is also on the list. I don't think I mentioned her, but yes, she's on the list because she sent her donation last week. So with Pluto opposite your sun, this is like a major reshaping of your identity. And it could feel like there is some kind of like battling it out, opposite sides, right? Like Pluto in the 8th is, I guess, shaking away all of the reliances you have on other people. It may be bringing major sort of death and rebirth energies. And so the first opposition happened in March 2025. Another one is in 3 days. So even though, there's this like Jupiter, I think, is bringing fresh energy, there is also a lot of like energy of like dissolution and needing to maybe remain calm under pressure and dealing with some kind of volatility. So Pluto will continue opposing. Did anything happen, Tasha? Did anything happen in March this year? Any sort of power struggles or drama? Anything that maybe is coming back around right now? Have you been noticing anything like that? So Pluto opposite your sun, there are 5 exact oppositions. It's oppositions, basically 2025 and 2026 with exact hits in March and June 2025, and then January, September, November 2026. And this feels like major, I think, changes in terms of your resources and even a need to find more independence and self-reliance. And there's definitely like death and rebirth energy going on in the sector of like who you trust, who you rely on. And the same goes for like Uranus on the moon. You're maybe in this period where things are unstable, but also on many levels, I think like they will be, these things that you're shaking off and like shedding is the word. They're meant to be sort of gone in order to, you're meant to get rid of them in order to be more truthful to yourself. So these are sort of interesting energies. There's also your Saturn opposition is happening. It will be exact next year. Saturn opposition is a completion of the, not a complete, well, Saturn opposition is like a full moon of Saturn. So on many levels, it is like a completion of the cycle that got started with your Saturn return. That would have been like 14 years ago, approximately. And it's happening in your professional sector. And it actually could be an interesting, rewarding time professionally. Maybe it's like encouraging you to. March was when he filed for divorce. Okay. So the first Sun Pluto opposition. And is anything also continuing to happen right now with that? I guess you're probably going to be in it. So do you think the divorce is going to be easy and civil? Or is it looking like it maybe is going to be dramatic? I do like Jupiter in the house of identity for you for the next year. It will be making some happy aspects. Let me tell you when. So I think there's some like lucky energy as well. July 3rd, July 13th is when Jupiter conjoins your Mars and your ascendant. August 30th, January 29th, and April 20th, 2026 is when it also conjoins your Mercury. So those might be really significant dates for, some kind of good news and taking action. There's also, it will trine your midheaven, which is the angle of career in August. So there's definitely some supportive energy and sort of like good energy for rebirth. You go to court on Friday for the first time. Oh, wow. How it's crazy how literal it is, because like your Pluto opposition dates are, so Pluto Sun opposition June 26th. Isn't Friday June? What? No, Friday would be what? June 23rd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th. Well, yeah, it's like right around that same time. So it might be like, this might be the story of your divorce. Pluto opposite Sun might be this kind of long, from March 2025 all the way until November 2026. It's interesting because you're born with Mars in its fall and Venus in its fall. So Venus tends to be really critical of herself and maybe sometimes critical of other people, but you kind of want the best for people. You want them to grow, but sometimes it might come across as like trying to criticize them. And then Mars in Cancer doesn't like conflict. So there might be a lot of like a tendency to being passive aggressive or struggling with asserting yourself and fighting for what you believe. So I wonder if Jupiter will be helpful. Okay, you're saying going to court Friday for the first time. In the beginning, no, but now things look like it's going to be easy to walk away. 27. Okay, it's good that it's looking like it's going to be easy to walk away. Maybe it's the divorce and the fallout that comes from that, where you are like discovering what you want and who you are, and kind of through this potentially severing of an important connection, coming to terms with who you are in the new type of environment, I think. So that's I think what I'm seeing. I do think this is maybe this opportunity to sort of learn to deal with conflict in a more like structured way. Jupiter should be helpful. I do think that maybe Jupiter coming into your first house is a sign that yes, things are uncomfortable and you're going through this challenging period, but Jupiter softens it a little bit, and it suggests that while maybe financially it feels uncomfortable or you don't have all the answers yet, but there is that sense of like hope for new beginnings, right? And excitement of like who you will become. And so I think Jupiter in the first house is like very much about like you're changing significantly. And hopefully meeting someone new at some point soon. If you want, if you ever want like to talk about things, all of these things more in depth, you are more than welcome to book a reading, and we can break it down. Okay. Monica, are you still here? So since Monica sent the donation previously, she will go, since she sent it last week, I will do Monica's reading and then Stephanie and then Vasilena. Okay, Monica is with us. Tasha, I hope this was helpful. Does seem like you're in this like very, very interesting period, I think. Okay, let me see. Seline was asking what are transit readings. So transit readings are this kind of readings that we were just doing, like where am I, what kind of energy is present right now, things like that. Jessica, thank you so much for your generous donation. Thank you guys for the support. If you, again, for those who want to join my list, the list is still open. Suggested donation is 25, but pay what you can, however much you feel like paying, however much you can afford. Your generosity is appreciated, and I am very understanding, that people have different financial situations and things like that. Okay, Monica, your chart is already ready to go. Let me see. So Monica, your question was, any major transits I should have a heads up on for the rest of the year? You're saying I'm focusing on trying to get my health and wellness and financial ducks in a row before I try my hand again with love. But if you see love coming up, I wouldn't mind it. Anything major I should be mindful of would be a great help. A very Scorpio rising question. Scorpios, I think, have that in, like, Scorpios and Virgos have a desire to know what's coming up. Well, go Pogo. I hope things will be good. Again, we are entering the Jupiter Kazimi window. We should all think happy thoughts and try to not think negative thoughts. Ashley Jane. Not sure what you mean. But okay, let's take a look at Monica's question. Okay, this chart has become very familiar to me. A very familiar chart. Let me look at your transits. Okay, Monica. So you are 45. 45 is the 10th house. Career, right? Career, work matters. We talked about Jupiter entering your 9th house in the past with potentially some good luck when it comes to education and your work. Have you noticed, Monica, yet any blessings when it comes to, like, you work in education, right? So anything like, yeah, we have Saturn potentially increasing the grind, and it is about focusing on your health more. But are there any opportunities to expand with this? So what is coming up? So Saturn obviously is a big player, always. It has just entered your 6th house only for about 3 months this year, from May 24th until September 1st. Neptune is also here from late March until October. So this year is all about these, like, taste tests and previews of things. So I've heard Scorpio risings complaining about health already, for sure. Certain aches, pains, headaches, structural issues that need attention, like knees, bones. Watch out for, be sort of very aware of, like, how you exercise, make sure you're stretching enough, do this sort of general kind of maintenance. Neptune can sometimes make things confusing, like you get some kind of random ache and it's not clear where it's from, and maybe it's even emotionally charged. So I think Neptune can suggest that ask for second opinion if you're not sure about things. Try to lean into spiritual healing, spiritual remedies. I do like that Jupiter is making a lot of lovely aspects to your ascendant, your moon, your Uranus, your sun. It's like quite supportive, I think, in terms of opening your mind to things. It is a great time to like learn something new. I'm teaching an astrology course to those interested. Like open your mind, open your, even like, you know, start learning about some philosophical traditions, or go travel, like meet people, join a book club or something like that. Jupiter makes really good aspects to your ascendant. So it's aspecting your ascendant, meaning it's also aspecting your descendant, which is the angle of relationships and partnerships in July 17th, to be precise. It's sextiling your sun, which is the ruler of your house of career, on July 27th. It's going to trine your moon in September, and the moon rules again your house of education. So that is supportive. Uranus is wreaking a little bit of havoc potentially as it squares your Jupiter. So let's see. Your Jupiter, we talked about. Jupiter is in Virgo. I think in the past, Jupiter rules your houses of money and your houses of children, which could be your children or children you work with. Okay, let me see. You said something, I think. Okay, Monica says, I got totally switched to a new subject after 10 years, so the jury is still out on that, hoping it's more of a blessing in disguise. I've got a work trip vacation coming up in late July. That's nice, and it looks like there is some positive energy when it comes to that. So Uranus square your Jupiter 3 times total, but this year it's July 13th and October 31st. So July is like a bit of a mixed bag, right? There is, I think, ultimately good influence, but something is maybe Uranus in a square to Jupiter reads, it still reads relatively positive because Jupiter is the planet of growth, but Uranus is in your house of relationships and partnerships. Okay, let me think about this for a second. So Uranus finishing up its journey through your house of relationships and partnerships. This is kind of exciting. It is exciting. Okay, so in July 7th, Uranus leaves your 7th house of relationships for the first time since 2018, right? Uranus has been here bringing all this like uncomfortable breakthroughs, breakdowns in relationships, sudden developments. How have your relationship life been since 2018, Monica? Have you noticed like things being more chaotic? Have you maybe like learned something important about yourself since 2018? So on the positive, there are good development. There is a suggestion that things will start to calm down. Uranus will come back from November 7th until April, I think, next year for a little bit more of like cleansing of your relationship sector. But it starts to move into your 8th house, which is all about relating with others, like sharing resources, maybe starting partnerships, maybe, you know, kind of getting loans, mortgages, inheritance, things like that. So as it squares your Uranus in July and then October 31st, so July 13th, October 31st, I would say all of July, I would say October, November. It goes in the 8th house, and it like either offers you a new partnership, a new some kind of financial maybe initiative that has the potential to like give you more financial freedom, or it creates some kind of like a need to spend money on something that maybe makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable because it's going to square Jupiter, the ruler of the house, the ruler of your house of money. So potentially some kind of like financial shakeups. Do you see any shakeups with in terms of money in July and October, November? You're saying, yes, that makes sense about my relationships. They've been crazy and been single for the past couple of years. Way too many frogs and not enough princess in the dating pool. Dating is rough. Dating is rough. But it's also great when it works out, right? Doesn't always work out, but Eventually it does, I think. So I think, yeah, like looks like Jupiter brings some opportunities through education and travel, but there could be some financial. Uranus in the eighth. I'm, as a Libra rising, I am dealing with this right now and have been dealing for the last like 6-7 years. So definitely, it's hard sometimes to fully picture Uranus in the eighth because it could be about healing. It could be about like breaking away from old patterns. It could be about like if you have a family member who's elderly and ailing, could be about them passing away, and you getting an inheritance. It does sometimes suggest that there is like some kind of death in the family, but it's not, it's not necessarily going to be like out of the blue with someone who is completely healthy. It's more like if someone is already not doing well. You do have a sick dad right now, Cancer. So, I feel like I would have to see more signs of your father passing away, but like Uranus will be in your eighth house this year, only 4 months, but then for the next like 7 years, starting in April next year. So is it likely that at some point within those 7 years, your dad might pass away? It could be. But what's interesting is you're saying you would get an inheritance from his passing. So that might be just like a question of like 7 years. And I wouldn't necessarily like see it as happening right now. I just feel like maybe it's some kind of like financial disruption or something else where you're like dealing with some kind of new opportunities, but maybe your fixed energy, like you have, your Taurus sun and your Scorpio moon feel a little bit apprehensive. In November, Uranus will also square your natal Mars. November, December, when it comes back into Taurus, and Mars rules your house of identity and your house of work, health, and service. So Uranus in the house of partnership, squaring Mars in the house of career affects identity and work. This one is an interesting one. You've already dealt with Uranus square Mars, though, so it's not new. Let me tell you when. Uranus square Mars. Where are you at? Okay, so oh no, you haven't dealt with it. You're dealing with it right now. Uranus is squaring Mars right now, June 20th. Are you dealing with any like disruptions in your partnerships or work, or even things that affect your health, maybe connected to relationships? So this comes back around November 27th and April 10th. You're saying I've been contemplating moving back to my previous school district lately. Yeah, Uranus sometimes also suggests that you're maybe the one who's initiating those changes and shakeups. Okay, let me see some comments. Ashley was saying, sharing my chart. You have been dealing with PCOS. I'm sorry to hear that. I know that could be difficult. You're in South Africa. What time is it in South Africa right now? Okay, Monica saying so far, no, I've been pretty much keeping to myself as far as relationships go. It's interesting because like there is sort of this sequence of events here, right? Like Uranus has been in your seventh house for a while. It's been shaking up relationships. It's been teaching you to be more independent, to be more maybe direct, to do dating differently, right? Maybe it offered you a chance to be independent, to be single for a while so that you got to learn yourself, learn to like sort of know who you are. And so it squares your Mars 3 times, June 20th, November 27th, April 10th. And then immediately as it goes into Gemini, it begins to square your Jupiter. So there might also be this sort of question of like, you have to assert your newfound values and you have to you have to sort of like, after you've discovered who you are for such a long time, you feel like you don't want, or you've been discovering, you feel like you don't want to deal with any kind of BS from people. And, there might be like some friendship challenges potentially too, because Jupiter is in your house of friendships. So maybe it's about something like that. Okay, you're saying 100%. Okay. Okay, Monica's saying I've been focusing on healing and letting go of past heartbreaks the past few months, so it has been affecting me this past year for sure. Yeah, I think pay attention to what happens when Uranus goes into Gemini, even sort of little things, specifically friendships, even your hopes and dreams, alliances, right? Maybe you will say goodbye to some alliances and some people. Maybe you will welcome some alliances and some people that can be promising in the future. Like for me, Uranus in the eighth, my dad passed away, my grandparents passed away. There were like major changes in the family, which is sort of similar to what's happening with Pluto in your fourth house. New dynamics in the family for sure, like death and rebirth in terms of my own like self-reliance, starting astrology full time. Like it could be this kind of like very subterranean tectonic shift that you're going through. Okay, that is my take. I hope this makes sense. Okay, Stephanie, are you still sorry. I'm like, I know some of you don't want me to say your actual name, so forgive me if I'm doing it accidentally. I'm still going to keep your information private, so it's hopefully not gonna change things too much. Okay, Monica is saying last attempt at dating a year ago, tried with a coworker and another coworker. Friend came in between us, so that makes sense. Interesting. Are you still friends with that person? Could there be something changing? Okay, Seline. Is Seline still around with us? You were saying you cut ties with them. Okay. I see you, Scorpio rising. How does your like Venus and Gemini mesh with your moon in Scorpio? How does like the lightness of Venus and Gemini connect with the Scorpio intensity? Do you think like I wonder how those two can blend together? Okay, Seline, you're here. Seline, I see your question. Okay, awesome. So let me stop a second. I'm going to put in your information. And then we will look at your question. And for anyone who wants to jump on the list, these are donation based. Suggested donation is 25, but pay what you can. The donation information is in the description and in the pinned comment. If you'd like me to keep your information private, you can email me at anastasia.does.astrology@gmail.com and specify that you want it to stay private. And if you don't care about it being private, you can just put it in the comments and also make sure that you give me a specific question. Ideally, it's better if it's specific, but it could be less specific, but it's just like the more specific, the easier it is to actually address. Okay. Let me see. Seline. Monica says it's interesting for sure. Saying still work with both of the people. Okay. Seline is here. Clash of Wars. Did you send a donation? I don't know if I saw your donation. You're welcome, Monica. Thank you for always supporting my live readings. I appreciate it. My moon in Gemini sees your Venus in Gemini. Okay, Seline. Seline, does this look like you? Gemini sun, Taurus moon, Leo rising. You're saying Gemini. Seline, are you French? Are you in France? Je parle un petit peu français. Je pratiquais mon français avec Duolingo. Just a little bit of my, but you speak French, right? I would imagine. Mon français est bon, merci. I think my pronunciation is like relatively decent, but I can definitely, and like maybe some vocabulary, but I struggle sometimes. You've forgotten a lot. Okay. De rien. Okay, so your question was, what is my purpose? I stopped working about a year and a half ago because I felt the need to realign my life. I want to know if I can start working towards a career that is my true purpose now. If you can see anything else generally that I should know, would be good too. Okay. So what is your purpose? So the question of purpose, I think, like immediately makes me think of the North Node, right? But I think there's more to it than just your North Node. What kind of jumps at me is your powerful stellium in the 11th house, right? Including your Venus, which rules your house of career. The moon Jupiter in the house of career. This is a very beautiful combination. It's an exalted moon together with Jupiter. I wonder if you really usually get good bosses and if you have a very sort of familial type of, family-like relationships with people that you work with. Good relationships with women, potentially. I mean, the ruler of your house of career is Venus, and she is retrograde, right? So when the ruler of the house of career is Venus retrograde, there might be a certain back and forward and less of a direct streamlined trajectory towards your career. It might be like one step forward, two steps back, a lot of like self-discovery, a lot of back and forwards. But I think it needs to be social. I think it maybe needs to involve teaching, helping people. The moon suggests a very strong emotional involvement with a career. So whatever you do, you tend to do fully. You tend to, connect to it, and like you emote basically a lot. You're emotionally connected to your career. You're saying I'm passionate about what I do for work, so I'm worried about being in the wrong situation. You're saying I dedicate myself 120%. Yeah, Jupiter would be the teacher, Moon would be the nurturer, Taurus would be creativity or finance, something like stable, right? For sure, someone who like is an art teacher. I can see as an example, maybe. So with your South Node in Virgo in the second house, there is also this suggestion of a lot of focus on early in life, especially a lot of focus on financial stability and being sort of really good at making ends meet and finding jobs and, finding security and stability. Your North Node is urging you to find balance with like rest and spirituality and imagination and creativity. And it also, I think, calls you to develop your Mars a little bit more. I have some Mars Kazimi candles that could be pretty good for connecting with Mars. But, it's sort of like getting in touch with your spiritual warrior, with your part of you that can stir feelings in people. And it's also kind of calling you to maybe develop emotional stability through dealing with shakeups and unpredictable situations. Okay, you're saying being stable is very important because my younger years weren't so stable. You get overwhelmed with feelings sometimes. Okay, so it could be about finding balance, right? Like it doesn't need to be about giving up on stability because your house of career, like all of your career houses are earthy houses, right? So wanting to have stability, being someone who like likes to work with your hands, likes to be in nature, likes to create things, I think is part of who you are. But your North Node in the 8th maybe suggests that it kind of, I don't know, it kind of suggests that maybe you need to develop some of your like kind of tap into some of those fears and see what they have to teach you. You say, I do like to work with my hands. Yeah, this would be like explore astrology, explore spirituality, explore therapy, explore some kind of like healing, spiritual healing work. Do ayahuasca, right? Become like some kind of again, I mean, I don't know. Again, you have this like very stable Taurus midheaven that's maybe not necessarily about like becoming like a shaman, but it could be about maybe like exploring something else. Okay, let me see something real quick. I'm just gonna look at some of my notes, my general astrology cheat sheets. Okay, the ruler of your career house is Venus, and she's in the 11th. So communication driven career, finance as a wealth advisor or financial consultant, working for a big corporation, creative careers such as advertising or business related to fashion, beauty products, and jewelry, having good relationships with colleagues and clients, even potentially some connection to like working with siblings. You're saying, but my last jobs were so great, not creative. You worked at a desk. This is a bit scary because it feels like doing a 180 change in a career. Do you mind sharing what is it that you do and what kind of, what is it exactly that you're changing? I feel like it's it's your nodal return. So there is going to be this pull to go in the direction of dreams. You worked in the power electric industry. That's maybe very like Virgo energy. I feel like with the moon, so with the moon in the 10th house, and it's exalted moon, so it also suggests that you can manifest whatever you really want. It could be like, again, sort of carrying profession, real estate, women, family, public work, advertisement, things like that. And then Jupiter is always about teaching and sharing your wisdom and kind of empowering, uplifting other people. So you got burnt out. What would you like to do when you're saying it's a 180-degree change in a career? Where are you trying to go? Or do you feel like what I'm saying feels like a 180-degree change? Okay, let me see. Shauna. Okay, Shauna, I see you. I'm putting you on my list. Where's my list? Like, I lost my list, you guys. Shauna. Okay, I found it. There it is. Oh, Shauna is Country Creations. Okay. So the way we stand right now, we're finishing up Stephanie, then it's Vasilena, Jessica, and Shauna. And then we'll see how much time we have left. Okay, Seline says, I don't know, but I don't want to go back to that industry. I don't feel like I was happy or fulfilled, even though I was stable, secure. Okay, so the big thing that's happening right now is Jupiter is in your 12th house. And Jupiter in the 12th house is encouraging you to connect with your spiritual self. It encourages you to take a pause, take a beat, and maybe spend some time alone. You probably don't do that a lot as a Gemini, right? The ruler of your chart is the sun in the house of friendships, networks. Like there might be this sort of busyness, a lot of mental energy. Jupiter in the 12th house right now is a really great time to like get away, go in the nature, ask yourself what you want to do, play with creativity, connect with your creative self. You do have a very powerful for manifestation chart. Like I think it's like you have to visualize what you want, and maybe you're in this place of confusion right now. And so in order to visualize it and understand what you want, you kind of have to take like a break and maybe be quiet for a second. You saying I loved art as a child but stopped because wasn't sure I could make a career out of it. And also it doesn't mean that you have to like suddenly give up on stability and become an artist, right? But maybe there is a way to bring some creativity into your life. Maybe, you know, maybe it's about like working at an art studio or working at a yoga school. Like if you were at a desk and you're saying I feel like I've been on a long break. Jupiter in the 12th could sort of, yeah, I think like it could encourage you to maybe like even travel and get away somewhere to reconnect with yourself. It's like disconnect in order to reconnect. But that's what I see in terms of your career and purpose. I hope this helps. Okay, Vasilena would be next. Vasilena, are you still with us? Astrolofax is asking, is this the girls only room? I don't know. I feel like I'm not sure. Is it girls only? Do we have any non-girl people here? Okay, Vasilena, you're here. I see you. Did you email me your information or do you want to share it in the comments right now? Shauna, also, if you don't mind just replying to that email and copy pasting your question, because I sort of have to flip between different screens to connect to it. And as a Gemini moon, I have too many tabs open and it will just like really be helpful here. Astrolofax is a non-girl here. Okay. Welcome. Welcome. Life is weird, bro. Okay, Vasilena. And then after you share information, do let me know your question as well. And I will, okay, I will pull up your chart. Oh, you live in Sydney, Australia. We do get people from Australia here once in a while. I feel like maybe something about the timing works out. Okay, Vasilena, November 20th, 84. (1:45 p.m.) And for anyone who wants a full-size reading, visit my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. I am teaching a course. It begins in September. If you want to learn how to read natal charts, if you want to become one of those people who can actually interpret charts and, you know, live life full of awareness, connection with the planets, connection with your own chart, that could be a great course for you. Okay, Vasilena. Let me see. I'm pulling up your chart. I'm going to check if I have your question. Okay. Do let me know your question. Pisces, Sun, Taurus, Venus is from Belgium. Hello. How nice to have a Taurus Venus. It's a beautiful Venus to have. Okay. Vasilena, you're saying I just did. You just did. You just did. The question, I cannot see it for some reason. It's in the comments. Could you copy paste it and just put it again? Because I do not see it. If you want to email it to Vasilena, you can email it to anastasia.astrology@gmail.com. You can also just like copy paste it. And Cream Pie Lars is saying, I have a rash on my back. Would you be able to interpret it if there is a full moon? That is a question that reads as you're just joking around. Okay, Vasilena is saying just what is next in my life. Okay. Bridget Atkinson, Libra rising, Cancer sun, Pisces moon, Gemini Venus. Hello, hello. Seline is sending a laughing creature. I hope your rash gets better, Cream Pie Lars. Okay, so Vasilena, just what is next in my life? What are the major tendencies are coming up for me, particularly around career and finances? Celine, where are you getting these cutesy looking creatures? Okay, Vasilena, is this correct for you? Are you a Scorpio sun, Libra moon, Pisces rising? And let's look at what's happening with your career. There's a smiley face off to the side of the chat box. Oh, is that where they are? I see. Gotta get Gemini to help you figure out some of the technology. Okay, Vasilena, so the chart is correct. And you're wondering professionally, what are some of the things that are coming up? So let's look at the transits and see if there's anything indicated by the transits. Okay. Okay, so you're born with midheaven in Sagittarius, conjunct Mercury, conjunct Uranus, conjunct Neptune, ruled by Jupiter in the 11th house. So Jupiter is in its fall in your chart, meaning Jupiter is not the most comfortable in Capricorn. Capricorn is the winter sign. It's the sign of sort of rationality and pragmatism, and it's because it's a winter sign, you have to be very serious about like how you spend resources, and you have to be careful and pragmatic. And Jupiter is the planet of optimism, growth, exuberance, like things will work out. So sometimes Jupiter, when it's placed in Capricorn, it can make you more pragmatic. It can also give you bosses that are rather frustrating at times, or maybe like bosses with some kind of flawed belief system, where whatever reason they like expect you to bring them a lot of money and they don't care about the quality of work. I have a Jupiter in Taurus candle that could be good for remediation, and if you ever booked a reading, we can talk about like other rituals that can be done to generally like improve work matters. What is nice right now is the fact you're saying that's why I'm freelance. You don't want to deal with people like that. Have you dealt with people like that in the past, though? And what do you do, Vasilena, to what's your like, what's the work that you do? Is it something connected to writing? You're saying yes, plenty. Had people like that. Okay, good that you found a way to disengage from their negative influences. You're a photographer, but you also create websites. Okay, that's very both like structured Capricornian and creative Sagittarian, I think. Okay, so what do we think is coming up here? You are 40, you're 40. 40 is the fifth house year. It's ruled by the moon, which highlights the themes around like partnerships, investments, debts, loans, taxes. So it could be a year in which you're maybe dealing with some kind of financial decisions. Jupiter is the ruler of your house of identity and your house of career, and it's currently in your fifth house of romance, pleasure. Saturn is also hanging out in the house of money. Okay, so a couple of things, right? Jupiter urges you to choose creativity. I think it's like very much right now, it's telling you like you need to have more play in life. You need to prioritize pleasure. You need to prioritize joy. You need to invest into the things that are of value to you. It is your Jupiter opposition, so there will be a little bit of friction between how you're choosing to grow, where you normally maybe again are quite pragmatic, and your Venus is in Capricorn. You need stability. You need sort of like you're willing to work hard, and you may be traditional in some ways, right? especially maybe when it comes to your work, like just sort of have traditional values. And so that being your Jupiter opposition, there will be a bit of a pull towards focusing on like your feelings and maybe going with emotions and like stepping away from being like pragmatic and actually maybe taking some kind of leap. Like it could be the time you decide, you know, like to start a big project maybe and just become a photographer full time, or I don't know, whatever it is that maybe is irritating in your job or whatever you feel like tired a little bit of, there could be an opportunity to kind of rethink some of that. Saturn in the second house of money this year from May 24th until September 1st. Next year from February all the way until April 2028 suggests that for some reason you are being more discerning with money. You're maybe considering a big investment, and that's why there's not a ton of free flowing cash right now. Or there's maybe like, it's interesting because Jupiter wants to grow and Jupiter rules your house of career, but then Saturn suggests some kind of restrictions or having to work through a lack of cash, or maybe even like having to deal with some kind of delayed payment. Saturn is not, you know, sometimes Saturn in the second house just suggests that you're having to deal with like some kind of difficult authority figures, or you're actually realizing that you are the one who has to validate yourself instead of looking at other people and hoping that they will give you the support and reassurance. You're becoming more and more sort of self-reliant and self kind of focused and driven. It's good that you have your own business. I feel like your North Node in the third house likes that. What else do we see as happening? Oh, look at the Pluto and the Mars. Pluto and the Mars is interesting. Mars rules your house of travel, education, legal matters, faith, philosophy, publishing, writing, and your house of money. And Pluto feels like Pluto is definitely shaking things up or bringing like important sort of transformative experiences. Let me see when. How have things been for you? Is this resonating? Do you feel like, you know, things are happening? Do you feel this pressure between going and just pursuing your dreams and trusting your heart and needing to be pragmatic, needing to be sort of focused on finances and some kind of push and pull dynamic? So Pluto conjoined your Mars in March 31st, 2025. It just conjoined your Mars on June 8th. And it's going to conjoin it again on January 27th and then 2 more times throughout 2026. So it's a very like purposeful time. It gives you energy to start things and maybe can make you extra competitive or extra sort of passionate about things, but you kind of have to be careful that you're not like rushing into things or you're not dealing with some kind of opposition. Yeah, I think the name of the game is like slow growth. You're saying finance has always been hard for you, moving to a new town and will have to adjust with work. Okay. So that checks out with Pluto and the Mars, and Mars ruling the house of travel and the house of money, and Saturn in the house of money. I think it's on many levels an opportunity to get more serious with your finances and to like get more discerning with what you spend on, how much you spend, and maybe build some kind of practices around finances. Do you have any questions to follow up? Do you feel like this makes sense? Look back also at the last time this would have been happening. Jupiter would have been in Cancer in 2013, June 2013 into June 2014. So what was it activating for you? Was it like urging you to maybe, you know, follow your bliss somehow. Is there any foreign travel with work? I mean, there could be foreign travel just based on the fact that your sun is in the 9th house and it rules your house of everyday sort of problem solving. And Jupiter, if that is, I think if that is what brings you pleasure and joy, then there can absolutely be travel with work. I mean, you do have Saturn in the 9th house of travel. So sometimes Saturn can maybe bring some kind of obstacles when it comes to realizing the travel fully. But it's also, I think, creates a lot of emphasis on this house and on the questions around travel and religion and creating your own set of values and sort of learning to build your own belief system, because early in life maybe you had to deal with people telling you what to believe and who to be and what to do. And so I think 2013-14 was when you became a full-time photographer. So it sounds like you made a choice for the better. And I think based on that, you're probably in somewhat of a similar situation right now where you're getting a chance to like make some improvements. And they could be, you know, they can definitely be connected to relocating, Pluto being in your 12th house for a while too. I think they also suggest that there is some kind of, and Mars rules your house of money. Yeah, like maybe there is some type of like big project that can involve healing, that can involve community, where like you either write about it or you take pictures or you start some kind of blog where you, let's say, you share your photographs around people who are like underprivileged, misunderstood, some type of like purposeful nurturing behind the scenes, or some kind of like spiritual work I can see as well. So I hope this makes sense, Vasilena. Thank you again for your donation and for asking the question. Jessica is next, and then we have Shauna, and then we might wrap up. You're welcome, Vasilena. Okay, Jessica. So Jessica, I have a request for you to look at a synastry chart for me and someone that I know, but we've never met in person. There is a significant age gap, but that doesn't bother me. I feel and look like I'm much younger. I would like to keep my personal information private. Okay. Jess. So let me see if I can do it with keeping your information private and sharing it. I may have to like not share it and do it privately on my own, but we'll see. Because I know I can definitely share I can share charts without showing information, but I don't know if I can do 2 charts without sharing information. This would be a new one for me. Doesn't mean it's impossible, right? Oh, oops. Okay. So I guess we'll find out whether it's possible or not. Is anyone else dealing, or are you guys located somewhere where the weather is insanely hot as it is in New York right now? But I would imagine it's probably all across the East Coast. I feel like if anything, I could probably just share the information. I could probably just like pull up your chart. Okay. What I was trying to say is I can pull up the charts separately, but I feel like there has to be a way to maybe share it like that. Okay, just checking. Okay, just give me a second. I'm still with you guys. I'm just trying to set everything up on my own. And then trying to figure out how to do this sort of dual chart without sharing, whether it's possible or not. We will see. Okay, so the first thing, it wants to show the time, but I'm going to see if there's a way to not show the time. It looks like maybe it is, but why is it showing like a million charts? Oh, okay. Okay. Wait, I think this is interesting. So we're looking at this really crazy, crazy looking, very big chart. I'm going to see if there is anything I can adjust. Okay, maybe like this. No, it still wants to show the information. Okay, I'm going to go with this because I don't think that's showing the information. And I might, we might just look at your charts individually. Jess says, sorry to be so difficult. It's okay. It's sort of interesting. Jason says, insanely wet and windy in South Australia. Jess is on the East Coast as well. So is it crazy hot for you guys? Okay. So as of right now, again, my list is Jessica and Shauna. If anybody else wants to jump on, you potentially probably one more person I can take. Suggested donation is $25, but pay what you can. The payment information and the email information is in the description. Okay, so Jess, is this you? Aries Sun, Gemini Moon, Libra Rising. And is this correct for the guy? Gemini Sun, Leo Moon, Sag Rising. Do let me know. And this is the chart that looks a little crazy that I was like, this is what we're going to be looking at. It's a little bit insane, but it is, it is. Okay, you're saying yes, that's you, and yes, that is it for him. So it's just, the only problem with this is like it's super tiny. But let's see. So this would be your synastry with your chart inside and his chart outside, and this would be the other way around. This would be his chart inside, your chart outside, right? So immediately what I like is the Gemini connection, right? You're a Gemini moon, he's a Gemini sun. You feel rationally, you need to talk, he talks, he will feel your feelings, he will see your feelings. There is like a lovely connection. You have a compatible Mercury aspects as well. Like his Mercury is in Gemini, which is aligned. Like the way he talks is, he talks probably in a very like jumping to a bunch of topics, moving around, and that's how you talk, right? That's how you potentially like to talk as well with your like Gemini moons can be very chaotic. I have a Gemini moon. I think we're just very like, over here, over there. And so like he has that. His Mercury is that. So he talks that way too. His Saturn is in your 7th house. That's interesting. That is sort of, and okay. So his Saturn is actually right next to your Mercury and your Sun. So this is like both good and challenging. And I kind of have it with my boyfriend too. So sometimes we see things that I guess similar to us immediately. So what's interesting with this aspect is, and you also have Saturn square. Okay, that's also something that I share with not exact same signs, but definitely somewhat similar. So this could be both a sign of like longevity, but it could potentially be a sign of like you can be restrictive of one another sometimes. And there may be, like Jess, for you with your Saturn in Cancer, which some Saturn in Cancer sometimes suggests like family issues or maybe deeper sensitivity, maybe like growing up in an environment where You had to deal with some kind of fluctuation. I think that's the word. Anyways, there's just like a little bit of a difference of like upbringing and how maybe you assert yourself, because like for you, you would go towards like emotional kind of healing, and for him, he might go for like, or like it's like feelings versus acting. But because you have a lot of Aries, like you might also be quite comfortable with Aries energy. Okay, what else is here? Sextiles of the moon. That is nice for sure. His moon is in Leo, your moon is in Gemini. We like that. Emotionally, definitely looks like emotionally you can be quite aligned and compatible. There's both sextiles of the sun and sextiles of the moon. What is your Venus Mars combination? There's a trine between okay, his Mars is in Virgo, his Venus is in Cancer, your Venus is in Gemini, your Mars is in Pisces. So your Mars trines his Venus. That is romantic. You can be quite intuitive, I think, when it comes to like sex, and maybe driven by your emotions a lot, and maybe very adaptable to like what the other person wants. But it's like very sort of dreams may influence your desires and things like that. And like his Venus is in Cancer, which is very nurturing and loving. I think you do have like a decent amount of intersections here that make, you know, sort of that are enough to make things work. Yeah, Saturn is interesting because for sure, like I think your Saturn aspects can sometimes maybe create a little bit of like, you know, trying to control each other or being scared, because like, so Jess, you are an Aries sun. And as an Aries sun, yes, you have Chiron next to your sun, but in general, you potentially maybe just like very good at taking action and being brave and being your true self. While for him, he's got Saturn in Aries, so he's learning to be brave. And he's learning to figure out how to be assertive without being bullying, right? So you being like sort of this exuberant self with getting angry or just expressing your feelings and moving on might be something that's like important for him to learn. But sometimes he may feel like it's a little bit like he might try to teach you how to express anger correctly or something. So there's I think enough of it to like see and be like, you're gonna teach each other things. Hi, Allison, thank you for following my yoga channel. By the way, if you would please follow Anastasia Does Yoga, I would really appreciate it, because it takes so long to build a yoga channel. This is what it is. I would really love if you can follow me there. But I feel like Allison just did it, and that reminded me that I have a yoga channel that I just started. So Jess, does this make sense? I was also going to quickly look at your composite chart, perhaps. To see if it like tells me anything. Alice says, I love yoga myself. Go, Anastasia. It would be so interesting to see how like my progress goes. As you know, this first video I posted was before yoga teacher training, and now I'm filming videos after yoga teacher training. Tomorrow I have a video going out about the whole Nepal experience. So it's like exciting. Okay. So this would be the composite chart. I do synastry charts and composite charts. All of that is usually part of the relationship reading. So if you guys want like a full breakdown and analysis of how you influence each other, the challenges might be, what the strengths might be, all of that is part of the. Oh wow, you missed some because of a commercial. I had no idea that YouTube puts commercials in a live. I was like, but we're here. Okay, this is your combined chart. I don't understand why I decided to show like a million different aspects. That's not what I normally wanted to do. but it looks good. I think there is well, there's a Venus Mars opposition, which could suggest a passionate but maybe sometimes like a little bit explosive relationship, or like sort of you affect each other very strongly. But then there is the sun in the 7th house of relationships, so it reads as like you can be a strong unit. Pluto together, Pluto in the 1st house might suggest that you come across as very maybe like intimidating on some level, or you guys can look intense, or something about you is going to be like unconventional and breaking all the kind of, you know, expectations on some level. So there could definitely be some kind of transformative energy. But I do like there is a by sign sun and moon sextile, which again speaks about emotional alignment, and Jupiter in the house of children, which is interesting too. Maybe like good for babies, or good for being playful together, allowing each other enough space. And yeah, just do rewatch it back. You can just like look at like 1 hour 20-minute mark. So this makes sense. I think it can also look like you guys would enjoy traveling together. Okay, so Shauna, are you here? Shauna is our finishing act, unless somebody else wants to jump on. If you do want to jump on and get on the list after Shauna, I do ask for a donation. Suggested amount is $25, but pay what you can based on how much you can afford. And you can then either share your information in the comment section or email it to me. And the email is in the description. Okay, Shauna, are you here? Do let me know. I guess if Shauna is not with us, we might have to do... Oh, you are. Okay. I was like, no. Okay, you're here. So let me see. Is it okay for me to share your information? Like, to make it visible? Or would you want it to be private? Okay, Shauna says yes to making it visible. Jess says, I just wanted to know because we've never met in person and traveling with each other would be involved. Thank you so much. Yeah, the moon in the 9th house of travel might suggest that like you'll enjoy traveling together. You'll feel comfortable traveling. Okay, Shauna. Let's pull up your chart. September 24, 77. You were born on an angel number. Okay, Shauna. So let me see. Would like to know what's happening transit-wise with Jupiter Kazimi. What blessings or good things to expect for the June 25th new moon in Cancer? So is this you, Libra Sun, Pisces Moon, Gemini Rising? Happy Jupiter return. How exciting. It is your Jupiter return, and the new moon is happening right next to your Jupiter. That is fun. Okay, so your question is about Jupiter Kazimi and about the new moon in Cancer. So let's just see if I can animate it. I may need to reshare it, but we're gonna go to the moon, the new moon. This is so fascinating. Okay, so let me share it again because I don't think it's showing it. Allison says, what a lucky transit for you. It should be. It definitely should be. It looks like it could be very lucky. Okay, so here we are, June 25th. So generally, right, you have Jupiter in the second house of money and values. It is co-present with Mars in Cancer, which might suggest that like you do have good luck here, but you can be an emotional spender sometimes, and maybe that is costing you money. And then Mars is in its fall. It rules your house of work, health, and service, colleagues, and your house of friendship. So there may be this suggestion that sometimes friends cost you money, or like you maybe are very generous with friends, but they don't always reciprocate. And maybe colleagues are similar. So that's something to watch out for. I would recommend some, Mars rituals, but you can, if you wanted to, we can do like a reading for that at some point. But Jupiter in the second house, I think, is still beneficial. I think it rules your house, it rules your midheaven, your house of career. And you have a mutual reception, which means Jupiter sits in the house of the moon and the moon sits in the house of Jupiter. So kind of really nice energy when it comes to healing people, guiding people, supporting people, and making money from that. Jupiter might also suggest that you're someone who values, maybe you don't have necessarily like the most kind of money type values. You may prioritize sort of emotional supportiveness and connections and stuff like that. What do you say true to? I'm curious, like, about what I said about Mars. Is that correct? Do you feel like you spend emotionally, and do you feel like colleagues and friends sometimes cost you money, or like, do you ever spend on them and then it's like maybe not the happiest decision? I don't know. So having it be your Jupiter return, this is the start of a 12-year cycle of like spiritual and soulful growth. Jupiter is all about growth and optimism. And what was happening in your life, Shauna, from June 2013 into June 2014? Was there any kind of expansion, maybe financial growth, financial abundance? So immediately, just sort of just by house interpretation, this could bring a boost in your confidence. This could bring money. This could bring a pay raise, new opportunity, new business. You're saying the giving part and emotionally is true. Okay. So financially rewarding. Then if we add to the mix the fact that it's happening right on top of your natal Jupiter, and natal Jupiter rules career, status, reputation, your public life, and your house of partnerships, relationships, marriage. There could be benefits that come through those houses, right? A new partnership that promotes you, like becoming a partner in a law firm. A relationship development where your partner starts to make more money, like your spouse, and you benefit through them. Maybe some kind of opportunity to go start your own business, right? It's all about nurturing your interests. Kind of have to, you actually did ask about Uranus. So yeah, Uranus is about to go into your first house. This is major. It's going to be squaring your midheaven. It's going to be squaring your Venus, not this year, next year. But Uranus in the first house is the time of like powerful changes. So I think this year with Jupiter in your second house, you are maybe in this place right now of like asking what is of value to you and what is worth exploring, what is worth committing to, what is worth your energy. And do look back at 12 years ago, at 2013, 2014, like from June till June. Look back even further, look back at like summer, from the summer of 2001 until the summer of 2002, what was changing in your life? What was happening? So yeah, like, it's very easy to think of the second house in terms of money, but it's like second house is things that make us feel secure and things that we hold valuable. And a lot of people hold money valuable, but other people might hold education valuable. Maybe it's about knowledge, maybe it's about travel, maybe it's about family dynamics. And like, this could also be about making a really big purchase, like you're buying a property with your spouse, or you're like investing into your career somehow. So it's like a transit that I think also kind of calls you to connect with your wisdom, and maybe connect with your, even North Node in your 10th house of career also very much suggests that there may be professional changes. And like North Node encourages you to dream and to maybe, focus on the things that you want to pursue that are sort of joyful and maybe more creative potentially, because you have a very pragmatic Mercury and Venus. And your North Node is in Libra, so it's also kind of urging you to go into that creative space. So Shauna, what is happening right now? Do you feel like there is a shift in terms of what you do professionally? Are you expecting any financial gains? Play a lottery. Buy a lottery ticket tomorrow, and like maybe the day after, and maybe the day after. 24th, 25th, 26th, I think are all really good. I am going to be making candles tomorrow to encapsulate this Jupiter Kazimi, because it's Jupiter Kazimi. We cannot just talk about it and not make something with it. Okay, Yolette, I see your payment as well. So Yolette will be next after Shauna. Seline says play the lottery for sure. Yeah, it could be a good time. Allison says nice. Yeah, I'm so excited about the Kazimi, but I feel like maybe it's the Gemini moon influence, because the moon is currently in Gemini as well. I think there's a little bit of like trying to do too many things. Like today I wrote a newsletter, and then I set up a yoga video to go out, and I had other plans. It's going to take me a second to figure it out with yoga and astrology. I'm definitely not planning to give up on astrology. Okay, Shauna says, I do home health, but not happy with it. Want a change. So it could be a really good time to start towards that change. It's not like we do have Saturn and Neptune in your 11th house, which might suggest that you sort of have to push against some kind of odds. Saturn will make you rethink your alliances, your friendships. It might suggest that like people in your network are restrictive or frustrating somehow. So it's on many levels like, taking slow steps towards making the changes that you want to happen. And do buy a lottery ticket, indeed. Hi, Yolette. Do share your birthday information and your question in the comments if you don't mind it being public. If you want it to be private, you can email it to me. The email should be in the description, but it's Anastasia does astrology, just periods. Anastasia does astrology @gmail.com, but that's only if you want it to be private. If you want your information to be private. Yeah, and like Shauna, definitely like reflect back. You're saying 2001, 2002 was new home and moving, but like what was also happening in 2013, 14. You can also like expand that, maybe think of like 2012, 2014. You're saying I love creative stuff like art. Yeah, and there is this really quite nice energy with this mutual reception and a trine between your moon and your Jupiter, because Jupiter rules the house of career. And And the moon here is like very dreamy and spiritual. And for sure, I think I can see you doing like health and nurturing and working with women. I feel like there could be a lot of benefits from you working with women. But yeah, Jupiter wants you to potentially like reinvent yourself and be ready for slow progress, because it's a yin Jupiter. It's by sign in a square with Saturn. Astrology podcast was doing a horoscope for June, and they were talking about an author who wrote Seabiscuit. She was born with Saturn in Aries and Jupiter in Cancer, and so she wanted to be a writer. She's a writer, but because she was diagnosed with a serious disease, she couldn't write full time. So she would take breaks and she would rest. She needed to rest a lot, but she would like pause and then she would get back to it. So this is on some level the energy that we're dealing with. It's like you can make things happen, but you have to be ready for like a long haul. Okay, Yolette saying, I love country creations. Question, I like to know what's in store for me. My date of birth info is in the Cash App notes. Okay, can I see it? Are you okay with it being public, Yolette? Okay, I do see your birthday information. You're saying my dreams have been intense lately. Yeah, just let me know if you're okay with it being public, and I will know whether to show it or not. You've got Mars and Scorpio. So I think after Yolette, I am going to wrap up. I don't understand how we switched from like a regular chart to this weird show me all aspects chart. What is going on, you guys? Aspects at medieval, aspected points, all. Why? Okay, I'm just gonna look at. Okay, aspects at. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Arabic parts. It's just showing me too many things. Too many things that I did not ask for. Why am I seeing all these aspects? Okay. It's like it's just creating some kind of crazy weird thing. Okay, Yolette says yes to having it public. Oh, and you share it your I'm just trying, like, sorry, my system has decided, and I think it's been doing it this whole time, apparently. How can I change it? I may just have to deal with it because I think it's going to take me a minute to figure it out. Okay. I'm gonna give up on it. I'm not gonna try to figure it out. Okay, Yolette is saying you want to know what's in store for you. So also similarly, you're wondering about the Kazimi and the eclipse. You're saying right in time, as in like closing time. You made it. You made it for the closing time. I'm definitely going to need to figure out this whole like millions of aspects thing because I do not like it. Okay, Yolette, are you a Leo sun, Pisces moon, Leo rising? The eclipse, we have an eclipse in August and then in September. Okay, Yolette, does this look correct for you? Leo sun, Pisces moon, Leo rising. I think it should be because the time looks correct. I feel like the air-conditioned air is drying out my eyes, so I might start crying soon. I love you guys so much. You got some ads too. Okay. Yeah, I feel like when I set the live up, it does ask me like what how many ads would you like, and I always do like sort of medium, but I thought it means the ads for later, but apparently it means both. Okay, so Yolette. So Jupiter Kazimi is happening in your 12th house. Jupiter is entering it entered your 12th house on June 9th, and it's staying here until June 30th, 2026. It is bringing a lot of focus to your blind spots. So Jupiter transits are always positive, and they suggest that there is an opportunity to heal. And so on many levels, the new moon could be about healing. It could be about sort of becoming aware of something that doesn't serve you and letting that go, healing old wounds, past experiences, even being more aware of bad habits and letting them go. And then on the other hand, 12th house also holds things that we maybe really value, but we don't acknowledge them. For example, your love for astrology. Time and time again, you see people with Jupiter transiting the 12th house, starting to look at astrology, becoming more interested in it, starting to research their placements, starting to understand themselves through like less tangible things, right? And I'm actually teaching a class in September. So if you wanted to learn about natal charts and learn to read charts, you could join my course and discover more about yourself. So it's like a beginning of this cycle that will go on for a full year. And there's something, there's something that's also happening simultaneously, and that is Saturn and Neptune. So other things, this could also mean a desire to move. There might be like a desire to relocate or a desire to get in touch again with your spiritual self. So maybe go to a yoga ashram, do more spiritual type of work, right? Connect with something that's more invisible, that's like less kind of tangible, that other people do not maybe value in an obvious way. Allison's asking, do I have any good astrology books that I recommend? So I've been reading Liz Green's Saturn's book. I think that's really good. It's a bit heady, and like I sometimes need to make sure I'm like really focusing on what I'm reading. That one's pretty nice. Robert Hand's aspect books can be pretty good too. What else? I think those two that come to mind, but I'm not sure like other ones. Okay, what is this new moon doing? It's aspecting your Venus, and Venus rules your third house of like education, travel, short trips, and your 10th house of career. So it might suggest that you're kind of like entering into this period where you're having to reevaluate things. Allison, it's Liz Green, L-Y, there she is. It's this book, L-I-Z, Liz Green, Saturn, and you'll look at an old devil. I don't know if if you can see it. Hopefully you can see it. And yeah, Rob Hand, thank you for writing it down. So Yola, do you feel these changes? Do you feel like you're starting to maybe get more interested in spiritual matters and perhaps like seeking escape or more rest or more like, I don't know, this could be a great transit for, like, I think I said it already, but like going to an ashram, traveling far away, going to sort of do some soul searching. Could also be perhaps interesting for like creative self-discovery, working on some kind of project in private and connecting maybe with your imagination and your creativity. At some point in the future, it will also trine your moon. And the moon is in your 8th house, which already suggests love for mysteries and spiritual things. And so I think in the next year, your love for these mysteries and these hidden things will likely expand even more. There's also a nice trine to your Saturn and your Mars at some point next year. Maybe even some kind of healing of family, of childhood wounds, going to an ayahuasca ceremony and letting go of some things that maybe you haven't fully processed. Romantically, meeting someone I can see as well, because Jupiter will trine your Saturn and Saturn rules your house of relationships. So that could be quite positive. I can give you some dates just so it's more specific instead of at some point. Oh my God, this is driving me nuts. It's like showing me way too many aspects that I want it to show me. I don't know how this happened. I feel like something got clicked. And now instead of showing me aspects I want, it's showing me all the aspects. Okay. And now it just quit. Yeah, my software was like, nope. It was feeling my irritation. I was like, you're not doing your job correctly. And it was like, okay, then I'll just give up. Then I'll just leave you. And okay. Okay, let me see if I can. So that's much better. Look at that. It quit and now it restarted and it's showing the aspects correctly. So it was like totally some weird kind of glitch. Okay, Yolette, we were looking at your aspects. Let's do this again and let's hope for the best. Let's hope it does better this time around. Okay. So this is the chart looked like. And I am going to look at the transits to give you some exciting dates. So medieval, and we will really hope it doesn't quit on us this time. It's so hot in New York. I blame the heat. It doesn't even want to work. It's like it's too hot to cooperate. Okay. So it's also your Jupiter opposition. That's interesting. Okay, so June 25th, and on the day of the new moon is your Jupiter opposition. I didn't even notice Jupiter hiding here. So we talked about Jupiter in Capricorn today already. You maybe missed it, but Jupiter in Capricorn usually makes people pretty pragmatic. It suggests that you maybe grew up with certain values around like success and ambition and having enough and being kind of grounded. And so Jupiter being by transit and the new moon highlighting your 12th house, it's almost like calling you to find balance between like emotional and pragmatic. And sometimes Jupiter in Capricorn might also be a sign that you go for opportunities that create security, but they don't always fulfill your heart. So I think this is a suggestion here, is that like maybe you need to look for better balance between your need for stability and your need for like soul's fulfillment. And then, so this aspect is in June. So it's right at the time of the Kazimi and the new moon. And then in July 10th, Jupiter sextiles your Venus, which could be that kind of good financial and maybe professional time. And then July 14th, there is a sextile to your midheaven. July 26th to your Saturn and your moon. So July is just full of these positive opportunities of either you're like discovering yourself, or maybe there is even professional opportunities to travel, to get away, to rest a little bit more. August 8th, it will sextile your Mercury, which is good luck for mental decisions, business dealings, writing projects, studying, and things like that. And then it will be quiet in terms of Jupiter for a while until next year. On June 19th, it's going to be trining your Mars. And oh, wait, when does it trine your Saturn? Oh, it trines Saturn in late July. Yeah, so I think those are like July, August look really nice for all the things that are ruled by, so career, yes. What else? Business, learning, skills. Mercury rules your house of money, your house of friendships. You're saying you're working on a side business. You think 8/8 will be a good start date. Yeah, for sure. And do some maybe networking in July. That can also be like a good time to like maybe, hustle and meet some people. Is your side business connected to some kind of spirituality or healing? I think we're gonna wrap up, you guys. Otherwise, just finish things with Yolette. And I've been live for almost 2 hours. So thank you to those of you who donated and participated and asked me questions and chatted with each other. That is, oh, your business is connected to healing and spirituality. Look at that. You're already aligned with what's going on. Sounds great. Sounds awesome. Yeah, and it sounds like you're balancing too. You're balancing that like pragmatic Jupiter. I also think, Venus and Virgo and Mercury in Virgo, that's like also a very healing energy. And your Mars is such a ninja that will not give up when it's committed to some kind of goal and mission. Mars in Scorpio is so like such like a powerhouse of a placement. So, and it's like, it's also like a very kind of behind the scenes year on many levels, because Jupiter is in your 12th house, and then next year after June 30th it comes into your first house for a full year. So there is like, maybe you're starting things right now, but then next year when it's in your first house, you're like public and live with it and big and visible. So I hope it was helpful, Yolette. Sounds like you are on the right track. Allison is being very supportive. You're saying much appreciated, love it. Allison says you're lucky. My Mars is in Aquarius. I like Mars in Aquarius. Mars in Aquarius is like, following its own beat, very unpredictable, very like driven to change the world, I think. Allison, are you 88? Is that by Mars in Aquarius? I can't remember. Well, I think Mars went retrograde in 88, but it went retrograde in Aries. 86. Okay. Jupiter in Pisces, right? Jupiter in Pisces. Well, thank you guys. Scorpio year of the tiger. Okay. Yolette says, thank you, Allison. My boss's name is Allison. Allison is a pretty name. I like Allison. Well, thank you, everyone. I enjoyed this chat. Enjoy the Jupiter Kazimi tomorrow. Do something. Don't just like let it pass by. Like write something down in your journals. Allison is like, what a nice name your boss has. Allison is sparking up the humor in the chat. So yeah, enjoy the Jupiter Kazimi and the new moon. I hope the day goes well for you. I hope it goes well for me. And the candles are created and abundant and encapsulate. I'm actually making candles tomorrow and then on Thursday to like capture the moon that's already waxing, because you kind of like to have, it's nice to have the moon waxing. Okay, bye everyone. I'll see you very soon. Subscribe my yoga channel, please, if you haven't yet. Okay. Allison says, same to you, Anastasia. Thanks again, as always, for your time and energy. Bye. Thank you.